about this NIL deal. And when you ask me, like what am I proud of or what kind of impact, I thought about, because these things happened some time ago, but today, for example, athletes are able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness, even while in high school, right? And today, college athletes are able to transfer colleges without penalty, right? And today, even high-profile athletes are able to transfer schools for no reason at all, or just to try to improve their status, right? There was a time when none of this stuff was possible, and it was at that time that I helped like an elite high school basketball player, one of the top recruits in the country for Louisville, who had been ruled ineligible because of benefits he received while he was in high school. And I was able to get him eligible to play at Louisville as a freshman. And then there was also a time when the state 100 and 200 meter champion from Long Beach here, who was one of the top recruits in the country, who signed with USC, and then he participated in a 1-week camp that they had before school starts, right? And then it turned out he was ultimately not cleared by the clearinghouse, so he was ineligible to enroll at USC. However, the NCAA and the Pac-12 rules they had at that time, his participation just in that 1-week camp, even though he never enrolled at USC, made him a transfer from USC. So when he wanted to go to Oregon, his second school, then he had to get permission from USC because he's transferring from there. And not only that, but the transfer rules applied. And NCAA transfer rules back at the time, now you can do whatever you want to do. But back then, you had to sit out a year if you transferred. And then the conferences are able to have rules that are more strict than the NCAA rules. They can't be more lenient, but they can be more restricted. So in the Pac-12 conference, not only did you have to sit out the year, but you lost the year. And you couldn't get athletically related financial aid, right? Which means you can't go to school. And I was able to get a kid able to transfer in a conference from USC to Oregon with immediate eligibility. And then finally, there was a young lady at the University of Tennessee who was the female freshman track athlete of the year in the Southeast Conference. So she was a big-time athlete, and she had transferred to USC. And Tennessee had this rule they called the Pat Summitt rule that made it harder for female athletes to transfer versus men, notwithstanding Title IX, which was designed to protect women and to make things equal. But the women at Tennessee actually passed this Pat Summitt rule that made it harder to transfer. And I was able to get Nia Ali, again, immediate eligibility at USC, financial aid. She went on to compete in the Olympics, which she probably wouldn't have been able to do had she not been able to continue her track at USC. I also wrote articles for the Huffington Post, right, where I coined the phrase the intersection of race and sport and money, including articles like the real March Madness, which is not the fact that they play, a gang of games in 2 weeks and they make, billions of dollars in that 2-week period. The real March Madness is the fact that if you look at those 64 teams, 90% of them plus are going to be black athletes, and the graduation rate is going to be less than 30% for them athletes, and they don't get paid nothing, but they played. And so that was then, and now they get paid even to sign their name to go to a college. So I was able to do stuff for student athletes at a time when it wasn't permissible. I was writing about this stuff at a time when it wasn't permissible, and I think some of this led to the current rules today, which make all this stuff permissible. Okay. So the point of all of this is, not only could some people consider me the father of NIL, but because I was ahead of the curve then, I'm ahead of the curve now in terms of how to really take advantage of NIL, right? And not let NIL become your reason for everything, but it's got to be strategic. I mean, you got to consider the pluses and minuses, and you can't just be making decisions based on a few dollars they will give you, when you have to consider, your future. I mean, is this the right school for you education-wise? Do they have your major? Do they have an alumni support network? All that kind of stuff. If you're just trying to go get paid some money that you're going to spend, before the semester's over, then you're not really taking advantage of these rules. So there's got to be some strategy, there's got to be some planning. And just like when I'm representing pro athletes, for example, and in terms of getting marketing, the first thing I would do is to identify the biggest nonprofit in the city where the kid is going to play, right? It may be the Heart Association or the Cancer Society, something like that. And the reason behind that is because I know that this is all the CEOs and senior VPs of all the companies that are local to that city. They're on the board of these nonprofits, right? So if you volunteer for this nonprofit, you're not getting paid, but you're getting access to all the CEOs in the city. And then if you got a strategy and you've been prepared properly, when you meet these CEOs, then you turn those into NIL. So you don't have to go looking for NILs, you go look for the people and connect with the people who can give you the NILs, and you impress them. Because like one of my mentors several years ago, George Frazier, is not what you know, and it's not even who you know, but it's what they think about you, right? So if you can go make an impression on these people, and I did it even for Willie Golf. Willie Golf, we went to, when he was a rookie, before he played his first game, they used to do these Monday Night Football deals, right, where like one of the athletes shows up at the bar, and they pay him, and he answers questions and all that kind of stuff at halftime. So we asked around, and we wanted to find out where was like the biggest crowd on Monday night in Chicago. And it was a bar that Walter Payton had been going to, right? And they were paying Walter Payton. So we called that bar and we said, look, we'll come for free, right? We don't even need no money. He just signed the richest contract in the history for a wide receiver. So he don't need $5,000 to show up at this bar. But what we want to do is we want to meet people, right? So we went there for free. And the first person came up to Willie Golf after they heard him talk was the CEO of Ambassador Office Equipment, right? And that led to tens of thousands of dollars in endorsements from Ambassador Office Equipment, from Sarah Lee, and all kind of folk. BW Oil, just because he went there and he met these people. And so rather than chasing NILs, what I would suggest guys do is work on themselves so that when they get in front of people, they can impress those people. And if they get stats and other things that warrant it, the people will offer them NIL. They don't have to ask for them. Right now they're going around, like prostitutes almost, just trying to get paid from however they can, from whoever will pay them. It's insanity.